I just won a golden passport. That's right, I'm headed to the Wynn to play in the WPT $5 million guarantee free roll. All I had to do was make a 60-second vlog. I've had some experience this year doing that, and get extremely lucky. Stay tuned, at the end of this vlog, I'm gonna show that 60-second video that won me the passport. A few words about luck. I won a $400,000 guarantee tournament for over $95,000. Is that all luck? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't have gotten to the final table if I hadn't been lucky. Like ace-king beats aces lucky. Like quads lucky. Luck is an inextricable part of poker. Sometimes you're on the right side of it, and sometimes you're not. The turn is the ace of diamonds. But such is life. No matter how hard you try, sometimes luck gets in the way. So let's play a tournament and see how lucky this Irishman can be. We're in for a $380 buy-in in this $1 million guarantee quantum tournament at the bike. And we build our stack the first day and end the session with a tricky one. I had just doubled up with pocket queens, with blinds at 3,000, 6,000, and now I have about 220,000 in chips. I was gonna fold in a day two and just call it a day with about 1 or 2 people to that bubble, but this hand calls for action, so I min raise, get the button to call, and then the big blind goes into the tank. This guy was an aggressive regular and very talkative and friendly, but when action came to him in this hand, he clammed up real quick. He boosts it to 33K, and now I have a decision to make. The next day I actually took this one to Twitter and got some definitive you should have jammed advice from LA Crusher Derek Kwan. But in reality, I folded this hand just looking to get the day two. I figure with an early raise and a call on the button, this guy had to be super strong, and I might have been way behind. And if not, it was a coin flip at best. Look, I have limited time to play these days, and this was my only day one bullet. I haven't been to a day two in a few tournaments, and day two starts with blinds at half this level, 2,000, 3,000. So to me, coming back with 60 or 70 big blinds, combined with the live tell of his strength from the big blind, it all added up to fold. But in hindsight, I don't think I could let my schedule dictate my play, and I think in the future I should jam this. The button ended up calling the raise, and the flop came Jack 6-6, 1 club. The big blind let out, the button folded, and the big blind ended up showing pocket queens. Did I avoid a big loss here? Or did I miss out on value? Let me know in the comments. On to day two. Starting off with about 200,000 and looking to make the money today, we make some small moves like squeezing from the big blind with ace queen, and raising with a questionable Jack 9 suited to pick up bits and pieces and build our stack. Then we get 10s on the button, flat a pre-flop raise, then call a flop C bet, and then get all the way to showdown to take it down on a board that was definitely favorable to our pair. Now we're up to about 330,000 and feeling better about my stack. Blinds at 4,000, 8,000 now, and I raise it up to 16,000 with King Jack off in the cutoff, and only the button comes along. 2 9s and a deuce on the flop, 2 diamonds. I think a good flop to continue here because the 2 9s reduce the likelihood he has one, and he's not going to have a lot of deuces either. I lead for 22,000 and he calls. So I think he's continuing here with a wide range, anything from a flush draw to 2 overcards. And the turn brings one of the kings I was hoping for. Then I check. I find this strategy heads up gets me paid a lot more, especially with a dry board, which to a certain extent this is. He checks behind now, and as long as the river isn't a diamond, which it isn't, I think I can get paid on a reasonable bet when he has a marginal hand, because I check that turn. So I lead out for 30,000 here, thinking I'm best a great deal of the time. This bet should be bigger here, as they say your bet size should go up with the strength of your hand on the river. But I feel like he's not paying off much, and I'm putting him on a medium pocket pair of best. So I go with a small size. He considers his options, then makes the call, and we win without seeing his cards. Can I get more than a third pot bet out of him here? Perhaps. And maybe it's back to the studying for me when it comes to river bets. 1 orbit later, the same hand, the same opponent, the same pre-flop raise for me to 16,000, and he calls again. It's deja vu all over again. The flop comes 9 deuce 10 2 diamonds. 1 card away from the exact same flop. I lead out again this time for 21 instead of 22. You know, really changing it up. He calls and we see a queen on the turn giving us the current nuts. King Jack treating us just right. I throw out 35,000, he tanks for a bit, then makes the call. The river, a blank. We have the stones against the player we beat before who may or may not want revenge, and about 164,000 in the pot. So I bet a little more than 2/3 pot here. A strong bet, hoping it looks like I missed a diamond draw maybe, and he thinks about it for a long, hard time before making the call. Pocket queen's under the gun too here, looking good. I go with the table standard of a 22,000 as a raise. And the next player to act jams for 104,000. It gets back to me, and we're going to be up against ace 2 of hearts for a healthy chunk of chips. Let's go to the run out. Ooh, that turn was nasty. On a roll now, and luck is our lady on day 2. But don't worry, it comes to a screeching halt in this next hand. I have jack 10 of hearts in the big blind and call a raise from under the gun 2. The flop, pretty good, 9-3-2 with 2 hearts. I have a flush draw and 2 overs. I check it, and he c-bets 20,000. I think this is between a call and a raise here, and I go conservative, having just built my stack up a bit. I think that's a bit of a leak of mine, always playing a little conservative after winning a few big hands. The turn, king of spades, giving me the gutter to go along with my flush draw. I check again, and he fires for 35,000 now. I'm happy to see the river for that price, but when it bricks out, I ignore all reason and decide now that I want to bluff at this since I have 0 showdown value. In hindsight, I think it's a terrible spot as I have no reasonable hands to represent, and my sizing here, way too small to push anyone off anything. Even ace highs might call this bet.
Nothing.
He shows king 10 of diamonds and takes this off me with a weak top pair. This one needs to be considered in my hand review for sure, as it was, in my opinion, one of my few missteps during this run. I chipped down to about 20 bigs, trying to stay focused here. I think I'm doing a better job of not panicking at low stack depths these days. My patience pays off when I wake up with aces on the button, and someone calls my jam.
No sweat at all.
I hold with no sweat. Next is jacks in the hijack, and I raise to 22,000. The button 3-bets to 125,000. He covers me, and I consider a jam here, but I just call to see a flop and take it from there. When it comes all low cards, it gets checked through. The turn and the river play nice too, and I go tiny at the end to get a few more chips from him if he hit a pair. He obliges, and we take it down. How do you think I played this? Do I jam pre-flop here, or do you like the careful call? One other misstep in the tournament comes when I raise it up to 40,000 with king, queen off in middle position and the button and blinds come along. The flop, a good one, king high rainbow, and after a weird interaction with the big blind.
Check.
I'll take it.
Oh, sorry.
I was like looking at people awkwardly.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were looking at me like this.
I was, but
Now I'm looking at you. Now I'm looking at you.
Yeah, we're good. I'm still thinking. Yeah, check.
I'm just a little thrown off, so I check. I figure with 4 people in the pot, such a small stack to pot ratio, I'm gonna welcome a little pot control and see what the button wants to do. He goes for 60,000, and now this is where I go sideways. The blinds fold, and I ask him about his stack.
What do you have up? 2, 3.
I need to jam this right here, and I didn't. I don't know why I didn't, but I definitely need to study the spot and do better. I also need to study why I didn't jam. I think I knew I needed to here. I just don't. I call the 60, we check the turn, and the river brings an ace, and I'm sick. He bets out now, and I make a crying call. He rivered the ace, made 2 pair, and I let him get there. As Robert Plant says, nobody's fault but mine. But let's regroup and see if we can pick up the pieces here. King Jack in the big blind and the aggressive chip leader bumps it up to 40,000 and I call. The flop is terrific. Queen, Jack, 10, 2 diamonds, 1 heart, and I check. The button goes for 50, and I think I have to call here, possibly jam, but he could still have top pair, ace queen, ace jack, lots of 2-pair combos, or even a set. So I go for the call. Turn is a blank, and he goes big now. It's either call or jam here, and I just feel like I'm behind. He's been showing down top pair and winners whenever he gets involved, and I just don't want to drive to the river for my tournament life, especially when I get the button in one hand and can see 8 more sets of cards. We're so close to the money, not sure if this is the right move, but we fold it. And we get some good news. Feeling a little better about my situation when the bubble bursts. Then we see a raise to 60 from middle position. I look down at his sweet side on the button and jam. He shows king and 10 of hearts, and I flip over the aces. This one gets a little sweaty this time. But we hold. The luck keeps on coming when we get an all-in from the same player and we have kings in the big blind, call, and hold.
Yeah, dude.
Yep, that's right. We were down to peanuts. Just 7 big blinds, and now we're up to 1.2 million chips and about 30 plus big blinds. Feeling great, and I think luck has a lot to do with it, but I have to say patience played a lot in the build. Speaking of luck, the player to my right loses more than half his stack in a huge hand where the button, our Eagles fan over here, gets a great run out with pocket nines. He boated up over the player's rivered straight. Side note / spoiler alert, Mr. Philadelphia here goes on to win this tournament. He was dialed in and getting great cards to boot. It came as no surprise to me. Great win, Corey. The very next hand, Corey raises from the button. The small blind, who is still reeling from the loss, jams all in, and then I look down at ace king. And I get a count.
Exploitative play that I wouldn't make all the time.
7:30.
And all signs point to...
Come on.
I feel like this was an easy one. He was steaming, he gets raised again, only has to get through me and Corey, who is wide on the button with a stack up to the ceiling. I think I have him and I jam over the top. Turns out I'm right, he's way behind, and the flop is super scary with that 10 in the window, but thank God that king is hot on its tail. But then, the unthinkable happens. And so, luck can raise you up, and luck can then effortlessly slam you back down to the ground. We move tables soon after with our 12 bigs, sit down in the big blind, of course, and look down at 2 lucky ladies.
All you. Call.
What a table change. You're mad that you got the big blind, but not anymore. What a sit down.
Run out is clean, and now we're back in business.
10 beat me last hand, so
Really?
I had PTSD from that. I couldn't celebrate just.
You never know.
Day 2, lots of ups and downs. Some missteps, but luck gives us a day pass, and we move on to the 3rd session of this tournament that started with almost 3,000 entries, and we're down to just 110. Back at the bike for day 3, and I've discovered the cold brew at the coffee shop here is first rate, so thanks to the lovely people making this magical jet fuel, hopefully we'll need a lot of it today. We're at 25,000, 50,000 blinds. Card dead day 3 is what we're going to call this, and we finally get an ace in the small blind, jam, and get a fold. So we're still hovering around 14 to 15 big blinds when the hand of the day comes. Jacks under the gun 2. I make a slightly unorthodox raise here to 3 times the big blind. I'm figuring, okay, I'm ready to jam this hand, but I want to make this raise look like I just want everyone to fold, hoping someone comes over the top with a marginal hand that I have crushed. And this is exactly what happens. The button just calls my raise, and the big blind, a local pro and killer player named Fausto Valdez, tanks for a bit and then comes over the top with a jam. So it's an easy call for me, and we do have him. It's about a 2-to-1 advantage. But luck, well, luck only needs that 1 to hit sometimes. We walk away with 92nd place and a few dollars. Fausto, on the other hand, takes those chips to the final table and gets 2nd place with a few more dollars. Good game, guys. See you next time. And next time, we'll be in Las Vegas for the WPT $5 million free roll tournament I won an entry to via Brad Owen. Thanks, Brad. I hope to see you there, just not on my table. Let's have a look at that 60-second vlog entry I made to get my seat. $1 million. What would I do with that kind of scratch? 20% goes right to a house down payment. 30% goes to my 529 kids college fund. 40% to a high yield savings account. And for the final 100,000, well, I feel like a nice family vacation's in order. Thanks, hon. All right, you really want to know what I do? First stop, Vegas. Old Vegas. We play the king of the casino and have a craps night for the ages. You gonna bet the hard 8, old timer?
Full security.
Next, we book it to the airport and head overseas. Macau, Montenegro, Monte Carlo. Mix my time up between poker and baccarat. Trash their nicest suite under my assumed name, Mr. Pink. And then take whatever's left, 2 words, shopping spree.
You're obviously in the wrong place.
Big mistake. Finally, new suits and a steak dinner to cure whatever ails you. So yeah, that's what I'd do if I won a buck.
See you in Vegas.
Good news is I won a second entry since I used the code BRAD to sign up, and I'm bringing some dead money. Just kidding, Tom. You're going to be a killer in this field, and they should fear the shades of death. I'll post my journey on my Instagram account as well as document it for a future vlog, so look out for that soon, and thanks for watching.